Hi everyone. I just wanted to do a little recap of the math that we did because I feel like I did not explain it as well as I could have. So we're going to do a little rundown again, a little recap of what we've done. So we'll go step by step. So step one, place your hand down on a flat piece of paper and trace the outline. I've done it on my whiteboard, so there's that. And for step two, we're going to use a flexible measuring tape to measure our 3 measurements. Measurement A is going to be right where your palm meets your wrist. So right here. We're going to do the circumference of that. So all the way around. So for measurement A, I measured 7 inches. For measurement B, we're going to measure from here to our thumb knuckle. Like this. From the base of our wrist to our first thumb knuckle. And that is, for me, 2 inches. And C, the measurement is going to be around your hand, from your pinky knuckle down to your thumb knuckle, your first thumb knuckle. So from here to here, we're going to measure all the way around. And I have measured for that 9 inches, right? So how do we convert all of this? So now we're going to go to our gauge, right? We're going to establish our gauge, and we're going to skip to step 4 because step 3 we've already identified our yarn. Step 4 we're establishing gauge. So gauge is going to be, this is my swatch that I've knit and I've blocked. So going across these 4 inches for my stitches, that is going to be 15 stitches per 4 inches. And then for rows, we're going to go up and down, and that is going to be 22 rows per inch. So now that we've established our 4-inch measurements, what we are going to do is we are going to divide these numbers, 15 and 22, by 4. So 15 divided by 4 equals 3.75. So that is 3.75 stitches per inch. I'm going to write that up here so that I know. 3.75 stitches per inch. And now we're going to do 22 divided by 4 equals 5.5. So I'm going to write that here, 5.5 rows per inch. So get rid of that. And now, how do we convert this to this? So measurement A, we are going to multiply 7 by 3.75. And I'm doing that, the stitches per inch, because it is the length, right? Length. And then for measurement B, I'm going to do 2 times 5.5. And I'm doing that because it's height, going up and down, right? And then for 9, I'm going to do the same thing as A. So 9 times 3.75. So for A, 7 times 3.75 is 26.25. So 26.25. For B, that is 11. And for C, 33.75. So the numbers are messy now. We got decimals and all that. So what we're going to do is we are going to either round up or round down. And that is at your own discretion. If it is like 26.25, I'm going to round down to 26. So A is 26 stitches. And B, because that is a solid number, it's 11, we are going to leave that as 11 rows. And for C, 33.75, we're going to round up because 75 is a bigger number. So 34 stitches, right? And now, all right, we can start planning the pattern. So what you do for the cuff is up to you. You can do rib, you can do a rolled stockinette hem, you can do garter. Whatever you want. This is where you can play around with the cuff. So, I have started with garter, so I'm gonna cast on 26 stitches. But since we're knitting flat, we wanna add two stitches per side. So, 28 stitches, right? And then for 34, we're also gonna add 2, and that is 36. So now we have our base numbers. And the way that we convert this from here to here is we are going to subtract. So we know this is easy math now. So we're going to subtract 9 inches by 7, 2 inches. And so we're going to take those 2 inches times 5.5 equals 11. So 11 rows. Now we're going to take our 36 minus 28, and that equals 8 increased stitches. So we have to increase 8 stitches over 11 rows. All right. There's my math. I'm going to wipe it all down so that I can show you how I chart everything out. I'll leave the gauge and all that. Take this off because that's not necessary anymore. And so for the chart, we are going to do, 28 stitches. I'm going to show you, this is how I chart things sometimes. So my V's that I'm going to draw are your knit stitches. And imagine that we're viewing this chart from the right side of your knitting. So the knit side of your knitting if you're knitting in stockinette. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So now I'm going to find the center of that. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is our center. And I'll draw that center like this. But when we do our increases, we don't want to do it in the center because we need stitches on either side to hold the structure, right? To hold the structure of our increases. It's really hard to do increases or 2 increases on one back strand, how we do a make one left and a make one right. So I'm going to place my stitch markers. Let's get a different color. Do this light blue. Stitch markers are here. And we're going to place those right on the needle. Don't place them in your stitches, place them right on the needle. So now this is just your preliminary base, right? For our next row, we are going to pretend that it is a knit row. And this is the row that we add our increases, right? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Actually, I'll do it like this, make it a little bit easier. We are going to add our increases in our stitch markers. So inside of the stitch markers, we want to add those increases, right? So for the next row, we are going to knit or purl as normal. Stitch markers. All right, and now your stitch markers are going to move because we're adding stitches in between them. So for my next row, another increase row, we are going to add those stitches, right? Now your stitch markers are here, and then for the next row, we will purl across. Stitch markers are still here. Now for the next row, we are going to add stitches on the inside of those stitch markers again. And then we are going to purl, purl, stitch marker, stitch marker. And now this will be our last increase row, so I'm going to add 2 more stitches on either side. All right, so you might be asking yourself, Ren, we've only done 8 increases over 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 7 rows. Over 7 rows. Well, now we're going to purl one more time just to establish those stitches, right? Here we go. So if we remember my conversion, it was 8 increases over 11 rows. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do I do with those last 3 rows? That's up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit across those last 2 stitches, or those last 2 rows. So knit, 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 and then again knit, 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 knit. All right, and I'm knitting both rows. There isn't a purl side, but what we are going to do for the thumb, because this is our finishing rows for the thumb gusset, right? So we're going to knit across on the purl side. We're going to purl across and then knit all these stitches, then purl across. And we're just going to knit all the way through again. I'm sorry, reverse that, because this is a purl row. So this is going to be knit across, purl up to the stitch marker, purl throughout the stitch marker, and then knit the rest of your stitches, right? So for my 3rd row, I'm going to bind off those 8 stitches. Remember, we borrowed these 2 stitches for the middle of our thumb gusset, right? Now we're going to move those stitches. We're not going to physically move the stitches, but we are going to bind off just these stitches in here, 8 stitches. So those 8 increases I'm binding off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So we will knit across the other 14 stitches, bind off these 8 stitches, then continue knitting until the row is done. Then we turn our work, and for turning our work, now we have a big gap, right? So we're going to move all of our stitches together, get them really nice and close together so that you don't leave any gaps when you're knitting them, right? And that's the thumb gusset. I hope it helped.